Hello, guys, and welcome to the Legendary Ladies podcast. And today we're talking music. It's been a little while because there was the new album from Lady Gaga, Mayhem, and we got a new album. So what's fun about this one, and we can talk about like our Lady Gaga fandom, I guess. I'm not a huge what are they called? Monster? A
Little
little
monster?
monster?
Are you a little monster cat?
I'm not a huge little monster, but my friend Marianne is like the biggest little monster you'll ever see in your
Oh,
life. Like
real?
she loves Lady Gaga.
Has she like seen her live?
I think she's tried, and because
It's
it's so expensive,
I
I
feel
don't
like
think she
nowadays to be
has.
like a big artist, you have to like put aside an insane amount of money and also hope that the Ticketmaster gods allow you to spend the money on the tickets. I managed to squeak in with Beyonce Cowboy
Oh,
Carter
did you
tickets.
get to? Did
I
you?
did. I
I
don't
didn't
know that
bite for that.
I don't know that the seats are gonna be good, but I will presumably be in the same place as her, and that's important. But, like, I've never managed to get any other Beyoncé tickets before, and to be frank, I didn't get these, my husband did at work. He was like, "I got them," and I was like, "What? I'm at home just staring at my computer refreshing. Nothing's happening." So, like, yeah, to get, like, Gaga tickets, I feel like is probably like trying to get, like, Taylor Swift tickets. It's like, you
Yeah.
can try.
Because it's impossible, but then even with the let's say the Cowboy Carter one, the reason why I didn't even try was just it was so expensive, and I'm like, no one's gonna want to go with me because they're so expensive. Like I'm almost willing to pay the price, but who else is gonna be want to pay the
Exactly.
price?
It's
So
so true. I had somebody who had to go with me, and that was
yeah.
really the key. Because, like, yeah, a couple years ago when Beyonce was coming through,
Mm.
I was like, "Let's go see Beyonce," and all of my friends were like, "The tickets are too expensive." So I had that exact same situation happen.
Yeah, unless you could bribe someone and bribe your
Yeah.
significant other, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see uh Beyonce. But and out of all the albums, that's the one I really would have wanted to go see because I really like that album.
That's a
But
great album.
yeah, Lady Gaga, I've always said this. I really appreciate her from afar. Like I appreciate her a lot as an artist and understand like why she's special and like why the little monsters go crazy for her. I think what's really interesting, and we're not going to talk about this too far, but like one thing I know a lot from Marianne is the lore of like Artpop, her like worst album, and everyone wants an act two of because there's these songs that are like demoed, but they don't actually exist. So I know a lot lot about that
Oh,
because
see, I know nothing about this. That's very funny.
so
I was
there's
like,
this
"Wait, what's the lore?"
the lore is that there's this album that was not very successful mainstream, and it was called
Uh-huh.
Artpop. The only popular song, and again, I only know this because of Marianne. I don't, or else I would never have known about this. But
Yeah.
she talks about it a lot. So it's Artpop. It only had Applause. That was like its biggest song, and like all the other ones
Ah.
weren't really like commercial hits. But she had like other demo songs that could make an art pop act two. So like the little monsters are like, where's art pop part two? But obviously she's never gonna release it because it wasn't successful.
That's
So
so funny. That's so funny where it's like they're like deep down where they're like the second part is where all the good songs were. We believe it.
we believe it. And yeah, I've heard some of the songs from art pop and I don't
You're like,
like them too much. There's a song called Venus that is so weird. She's like, she names all the planets in the song. She's like, Pluto. I don't think she actually says Pluto because I think it came after the dwarf thing. But she's like,
no.
Mars,
I
Venus.
will say, as like a child, I would have been really into that as a Sailor Moon fan.
So
I would have been like, yeah, she's naming my favorite Sailor Scout.
I love it. So I appreciate her from afar in that regard. And I like dance music, but I tend to like music that isn't dance music. But like, okay, like I like Dua Lipa, like I like, let's take the controversy away, but I like Lizzo. Like I like that type of dance
Yeah.
music. But yeah, when it comes to like literally pure pop, Lady Gaga is the queen of pure pop. And for me, that is not the type of music I tend to listen to. Like it's just not for me as much, but like it's so weird because I do like people like Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo. It's just something about Lady Gaga that's so dance music
I was
that
gonna say,
I
I feel like
don't know.
Gaga is more pop, like skewing towards like dance and
Mm,
electronica almost, whereas
mm.
like I feel like Olivia Rodrigo is a little bit more like pop,
Singer
like
songwriter.
yeah, yeah, and Taylor Swift for sure is like pop towards the singer-songwriter. But yeah, I think if you're like not a big dance music person, I could see not really like being a huge Lady Gaga person. It's funny because I'm not a huge dance music person, but I feel like I like Lady Gaga came out at like a point in my life where I just imprinted on her like a baby duckling. Or
So
it's
when
like
did it come out for you? Because for me, I was in ninth grade when like Poker Face came out.
that is so brutal. That's really so hard to hear.
Yeah.
I was in college. I
Mm.
think it was towards the end of college, like senior year, junior or senior year. So I remember listening to Lady Gaga a lot, like when I was like going to my internship, and and like Paparazzi came out, and I was like, I love this song. I remember when she was on Gossip Girl.
Oh
Like
my.
I really do. I like they Gossip Girl managed to get her like right before she blew up, and it's very funny when you go back and like rewatch Gossip Girl, like
Was
Lady
she was an
Gaga.
actor in it, or was she just a
She
singer?
does like
Like she
a
just had a song?
song. I think she does Paparazzi, or she does one of the songs in at like a party in Gossip Girl. And then like
That's
later
so
on she
funny.
comes back when she's like a bigger star. I guess cuz she remembered that they like let her come on at the time. But it was she was big in the in New York in that scene in music scene when Gossip Girl was filming in New York. And actually, I
Mm.
think I have a friend who went to NYU at the same time as she was there.
Wow.
So yeah, I was like, I often forget Lady Gaga and I are like the same age. So
I thought you were gonna say like Lady Gaga and me are like sisters, but
we're
that's
like
not
we're like
where you
best
went.
friends. I don't talk about this a lot on the podcast because it's embarrassing,
But
but
me and what's her real name again? What's her real name?
yeah, you would think I would know as her best
As
friend,
your best friend.
but I
I
don't
Lady
remember. It's
Gaga and
very
me.
Italian. I remember that.
Stefani, Joanne, Angelina, Germanotta. Oh man, the Lady Gaga fans are not gonna like that. Stephanie.
They're
I'm sorry. It's not
gonna hate
Stefani.
that.
It's just Stephanie. It's just how it's
I
spelled.
was like,
Weird.
"Stefani, okay."
She spells it Stefani. I really hope my friend
Ah,
doesn't listen to this podcast because
people are
she's not gonna like
unsubscribing
this.
as we speak.
They're like, you know nothing about Lady Gaga,
What
but
do you
that
know
is
about
what
Gaga?
that's where we're coming from though, is like just you love Lady Gaga. It sounds like you are best
I
friends.
like Lady Gaga. We're best friends. We
But
go
you didn't
way
know
back.
about Artpop Part 2,
But
so
I
you're
don't
not a
I would
hardcore.
the thing is, like, I like Lady Gaga, but I'm not a little monster.
Mm,
I listened to her first 2 albums a lot, I remember, like, the one with, like, Paparazzi, the one with Poker Face, like, the one with Bad Romance, but then after that, I kind of fell off the Gaga train as far as, like, when she released an album, I would listen to the album versus being a person who is, like, would just hear the singles as they came out and been like, "Oh, I like that one." I kinda became more of a casual Gaga kinda connoisseur, if you
right.
will, versus somebody who knew, like, the songs on her albums. So I'm, like, by no means a little monster. I, missed art pop entirely. It sounds like
Most people did.
maybe I didn't miss much, but I don't know the deep lore of the Little Monsters.
I recommend you take that deep dive. But yeah, this album was really critically acclaimed from what I saw. A lot of people like this album. Um, I can appreciate this album, and obviously we'll probably talk about our top 5 too.
Yeah.
But if I'm ranking something just like just for me, I couldn't get into it as much, but I see the art behind it. I see why fans of Lady Gaga really like this album because it is go back to basics version of her. Like I think it's her at her best. But again, I think you have to love Lady Gaga to like Lady Gaga at her
That's
best. I think
it's true.
a good example, and I think Morgan, you were on for this one was Kesha, or maybe it was just Amy for
I
Kesha.
think it was just
But
Amy.
well, we did the Kesha album where one of my favorites is the her most recent album, which was not like her other pop songs, and it was really slowed down and talked about everything that she's been through. And I really liked that album. So I kind of like when an artist strips down and does something really different. Like that's why I enjoyed about like Beyonce's current stuff was just is very stripped down and do something different. But I understand the art of going back to basics, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were talking a little bit right before we started recording where I said a new Gaga album is like a recession indicator. But honestly, this album does sound very much like the Gaga who first came out, like 2008, 2009 Gaga. I did think that this sounded a lot like a throwback. And in that way, I didn't actually enjoy it. I did actually enjoy it. Like I was like bopping along to it, listening to it once it came out. Like we were talking about maybe doing this last week and then everybody was sick. So like I have been listening to it for probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks now. And I'll just toss a song on because I was like, I want to, the first time you go through an album, I
Yeah.
feel like there's a certain some most artists, there's a certain sameness to it where you're like, okay, like after I get done, it's like, I don't know, I can't remember which ones I liked and which ones I was like, about. So like as I listened to this one, like different songs would like pop for me, but it does sound very much like it's very much vintage Gaga. It's like very her like original sound. It's very dancey. It's very like I don't know, like it's very kind of hard driving. Like the music is like very very dance and electronica inspired music.
Yeah, and it's like she does that thing again. I'm sure they're a musician or somebody can. There's probably a word for it, but what she like does the like almost opera electronic.
Yeah.
Like she does that a lot in this album. She
Yeah.
loved doing that. Which again is like such a Gaga staple. It's just like that's kind of her sound. I want to talk about the three singles, and then we can maybe jump into our top five. But the singles, I believe. Wait, go to give me. I'm going to
Were
Spotify to
those the were
actually.
those the 3 that she initially released
Yeah.
before she released the full album? I remember these randomly. It
So
was
there's go on, go
Disease,
for it.
I believe it was Disease,
Mm-hmm.
Abracadabra, and
Mm-hmm.
the one with Bruno Mars, the
Yes,
Die
you're
With a
right.
Smile. Yeah.
I believe it was Die With a Smile way first. Like that came out a while ago. And
Oh, that
then I
probably
want
makes
to
sense.
say it was Disease. And then I want to say it's Abracadabra. Like I think that was the release order. And they are definitely the most radio
Yeah,
radio
I would
ones.
agree.
Especially like Abracadabra feels so like kind of generic radio in my opinion. Like there's like those hooks and you're like, oh, like yeah, I'm kind of like singing in my brain. There's some earworms to that one. But honestly, the one I think this is a very widely streamed song. I like the Bruno Mars one the most, but I also feel like because there's so much Bruno Mars in it, it almost like feels a little
Yeah.
different than
When
the
I was
rest of
when
them.
I was putting together my top 5, I was struggling with that one because I
Yeah.
do really like it, but it doesn't necessarily feel like the rest of the album in a weird way. It's kind of like it's like a duet. And there's a lot of Bruno Mars on it. So I was like, I don't know, where do I put this? Where do I put this? But yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot of Bruno on that one.
And I think what's interesting about this album, and again, Little Monsters, correct me if I'm wrong, but I also just feel like there's not really a through line. They're just kind of like thrown together songs of like just Gaga being Gaga. Like there's not like this is the emotional crux of
As
the
her as
album.
as her one song did say, "Just dance, you're gonna be okay." I think it was
And that had
actually
a
gonna
lot
be
of meat to
alright.
it.
I feel like that was Just Dance might have been her first song, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it was her first song she ever sang, but it was definitely her first like
Like,
popular
single, like the
song.
single that popped
Yeah.
off, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's a fun one. It's like
It's
it's
fun,
like
yeah.
it's a fun one. What would you compare this album to her older songs? Like what do you think it sounds like the most?
Uh,
I think
t
Poker Face, like
I think Poker Face, I think Bad Romance. I think it's got a little bit
mm,
because Bad Romance had, like, a little bit of, like, a harder edge to it,
yeah.
and it was a little weirder than, Just Dance and, like, Paparazzi. Those are, like, very poppy, very, like,
Yeah.
dance songs. Bad Romance was, like, a little nuts, where she's like, "Rah, rah." It's
I
getting
honestly
it's getting
Bad
weird.
Romance. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
getting
agree with
weird.
Bad Romance.
I feel
I
like
forgot about that.
I feel like if you dropped Bad Romance onto this album, it would sound a lot like the other songs. Like it
Mm.
wouldn't feel out of place on this album.
I feel like the album picture feels out of place. I'm picturing like when I see that, I'm like, this is gonna be like her like just
Yes,
showcasing her whole soul.
I
And then you listen
I
to it and I'm like,
agree.
never mind. And the
I
title
agree.
too.
Yeah, Mayhem, I can go with the title, but I agree the album cover, I look at that album cover and I think what I'm gonna get is like a stripped down Gaga,
Mm.
like an acoustic Gaga, like a Gaga talking about her deep inner pain, and then I put it on and it's like abracadabra.
Which, like, what does
"Oh,
that mean?
okay, alright, cool. Oh, it's nonsense Gaga. I didn't realize she was back."
And like, how do you create that song? Like, I like that. And again, like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, when you come up with abracadabra, it's just like, yeah, like, what's the writing session look
Are you
like?
just in the studio just, like,
What's a
singing
weird word?
singing songs? Like, you're just kind of singing random songs, be like, "What if we broke this down in, like, a way that's funky? What if we took a song and, took a word and then just broke it down into its component pieces?"
Which honestly, like, as a Beatles
Works.
fan, that's kind of what the Beatles did. Like, back in the day, they
Yeah.
always said like they're, and obviously, like, you could kind of take words from some of their songs and why they're so universal, but they're like, yeah, we kind of just had things rhyming and that's about it. They didn't really think of like, what's this mean? They're just like, what words sound kind of cool together.
Yeah, yeah, for every song with, like, a beautiful backstory, there's one song
Yeah.
where it was just like, "No, we just like that word, we thought it was a funny word, we decided to go
Yeah.
with it."
And it's just like Ringo came up to me one day and said, I want to make a song. And we're like, that's, and then Octopus Garden came out.
"Sure, buddy. Sure, we'll make a song."
We'll
So
give
good.
you one. And then George is like, well, I have a few. He's like, you only get one. You can't make any more. This is Paul and John's show.
But what if I wanna sing about my car?
I don't know.
Mm.
That's me and Paul's material. And it was interesting because when I went to Liverpool to do like the ultimate like Beatles tour, and they're talking about
Oh,
like just how how Paul in general like created the songs. He's like, he just like went on the bus, he saw his surroundings, he's like, there's a barber shop, there's the fire truck. Let's make it a song.
amazing, I love that, like, that's talent though, because I would just see those things and be like, "Another day." But he's like, "This everything around me is music, baby."
And he really did that. And there's like so many, like, it is like an era of the Beatles and like what they were trying to do. But anyways, point being is like, yeah, you can make a song and just look at the nonsense around you and not make it too poignant. And maybe we live in a time where not everything has to be poignant and so thought out. And that could be a good thing, like just to be kind of fun. Because yeah, you look at like Beyonce and Cowboy Carter and you look at like how thought out that album is, from
Yeah.
like the interludes to the covers that she
And
did.
the whole concept of the
Yeah.
album, like, taking back, like, country music and things like that, and, like, all the homages and the different samples that she used and all of that stuff. And then, like, you just, like, put something like this on, you're like, "You know what? I do just wanna dance." Sometimes I do just wanna sometimes I'm thinking about magic and I wanna dance.
Sometimes you just have but let's get into our top five. So did you make a top five, Morgan?
I did make a top it was actually kind of hard, and I have some
It
honorable
was
mentions.
hard.
I did make a top 5. I will say, I like this album a lot. There is a little bit of a sameness to it where, like,
Yeah.
if you're just listening to it top to bottom, before you kinda, like, figure out which songs are which, you're just like, "That one's cool. This one's also cool." Kind of an '80s vibe to this one. Was that the last one I was listening to? Don't know.
I agree. I think there's very few songs that sound different, and the ones that do sound different ended up in my top five. But again, I don't think there's anything I honestly go back to. Like, yeah, I
Mhm.
out of personal preference, there wasn't anything where like I gotta like listen to that again. I didn't get that from this album.
Yeah, I definitely, like, as I was listening to it more, would go back to certain songs and be like, "No, no, I wanna listen to this one, I wanna listen to that one." I had a couple of, like, ones that popped out to me immediately, and then the other ones sort of I started to get to know them as I, like, listened to the album more. I don't know how much I'll go back to this album, but I think I probably will listen to, like, songs here or there. I'll be like, "Oh, I'm feeling like a abracadabra kinda day."
I think it's always feeling like an abracadabra type of day. So, what were your honorable mentions?
So for my honorable mentions, I had How Bad Do You Want Me, which to me almost sounded like a Taylor Swift song.
I was gonna say that too. So I remember listening to the first time, it kind of all blended together, and then I was listening to songs that I knew I liked, and I said, okay, these are songs I like. Let's like kind of narrow it down to a top 5 now. And when I listened to the second time, well, first of all, the first song I played was the Bruno Mars song. So my Spotify went to another artist after because it was the end of the album, which was Chappelle Rowan, The Giver, which I actually like that song. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm like tapping my foot. I'm like, this is a good song. I'm like, oh, because it's not this album.
You're like, oh, Gaga, wow, Gaga's doing something different.
And I realized
what's so funny is that we have the same Spotify algorithm, because as soon as I was done listening to this the other day, I was like doing something like washing dishes or something, and all of a sudden The Giver came on. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm liking this. And you're like, oh, wait. This is not Gaga. But so I listened to it again, and I was just listening to the album while I was doing stuff. I was like, oh, it must have did the same thing. This is like a Taylor Swift song. And then I'm like, realizing, I'm like, wait, this is Lady Gaga.
It sounds a lot like a Taylor Swift song. I almost put it on my top 5, and then I was like, Morgan, you can't put the Taylor Swiftiest song on your top 5. That's like offensive. It's got to be Gaga top 5, not Taylor Swift top 5. But I do like that
it's your top 5.
I know. I could have done whatever I wanted, but I chose to pick the more Gaga songs. But I did like that she had a Taylor Swifty type song. I liked that like she can do
also why?
Other versions of pop, I guess. I don't know why was it on it? I don't know.
That was like
I enjoyed it though, honestly.
Oh, me too. I agree. But there's like, again, this mayhem randomness to this album where it's just like you are listening to and you like have just Lady Gaga. But then there's that one random song that sounds like Taylor Swift. You're like, wow, maybe she's doing an homage to other female artists that are popular. And then you never see anyone else really reference. So it's just like, no, there's just that one random Taylor Swift song in here.
It feels like somebody who produced a Taylor Swift song or album like popped in one day to the studio and was like, yeah, I've got an idea. And Gaga was just like, sure, let's do it. Because it does kind of stick out from the album as sounding very different than everything else on the album, which I think is very funny. But that was on my honorable mentions.
It's very Jack Antonoff who does like all the producing for Taylor Swift.
Did he pop in?
I'm looking up now.
Jack there?
He did something. I'm gonna look up Lady Gaga.
If you told me that song was just happened to be produced by Jack Antonoff, I would be like, yes, I believe it. I believe it because it sounds that way.
I'll say the only note I see about Jack Antonoff, and this is AI, Google, in a 2014 interview. Take it with a grain of salt. He criticized the music of Lady Gaga and Katy Perry, calling it throwaway compared to music of Taylor Swift, whom he compared to Michael Jackson.
Oh wow, there's a lot in there that I'm not touching.
No, I don't know if I agree with that statement, but sure. Maybe it was just the AI though. Maybe he didn't say it.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm also offended by putting Gaga and Katy Perry in the same bucket. I feel like that's not fair to Gaga.
No, that's definitely
Gaga is a different kind of artist in that she is better, I feel like, than like Gaga is always doing something avant-garde. Is it always working? Maybe not, but that's okay. She's having fun with it.
And I think she does it. And I'm not saying Katy Perry doesn't do this, but I think she does it with a foundation of music. Like you could understand when she's doing it, like she understands music, like she's doing it to like do something different. Which we all have to respect about Lady Gaga.
Yeah, and I think she takes like the art of it seriously, even the performance art aspect of it seriously. Sure. Like everybody's made fun of her for the different things that she's pulled off in the past, like
that's why she's popular.
Yeah, the meat dress and stuff. But you know what? Like that's fun, okay? She's making a statement. She's doing something weird and avant-garde. Like a lot of artists aren't doing that. They're just like trying to keep it like middle of the road and be safe. And like Gaga has never been safe. Like you might say what you want about the music, but like from an artist perspective, I feel like she's always doing something crazy, and I respect that.
Yeah, 100%. And, she even tries to go into different stuff. She's trying to get that Oscar, trying to get that Emmy.
She wants the EGOT.
She wants it.
We can get the EGOT for Gaga if we only believe.
And I think she
Um,
wants an Oscar for acting because I think she does have an Oscar for like music. I'm like pretty sure she's like,
she
it
was
must be acting.
actually she was like very good in A Star Is Born.
Mm.
So she can act. She probably shouldn't be in any more
Jokers.
Joker movies. That's my
And
recommendation to
maybe
her.
no House of Gucci. Like no House of
The father son house of Gucci. I used to,
If you
I was just to go, just walk around doing that line to Mike, and he's like, "Leave me alone." I haven't seen the movie, but I did see the trailer, and I was like, "Well, that's the best thing I've ever seen."
Oh yeah, that's all you need to say.
It's,
You're good.
I've heard
Not much of a movie.
Gaga, you're gonna get there someday. I believe in you. And then my other honorable mention was Love Drug, which has like a very like
Mm,
80s sound to it that I liked. And then I felt like kind of the same way about Zombie Boy. I just like the way
same.
that she said zombie boy. She's like, "You zombie boy." I was like, "Oh, okay, okay."
You call me a
Gaga,
zombie boy?
what okay, Gaga, sure. Did you have any honorable mentions?
I don't think Love is a Drug and Zombie Boy were very close to my top 5. Those are 2. But then, like, when I listened to it again, I kept forgetting what they sounded like. So it's like, I don't think this is it. And I remember Love is a Drug, I really liked in the beginning, and then it just kind of fades out as the song goes on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's why it didn't make my top 5. Is like I remember listening to it the first time and being like, "Ooh, I like the 80s like the 80s kind of influence. I like the
Yeah.
synths." But then like yeah, halfway through the song, it does kind of like it doesn't get catchier basically. It just kind of stays at that level.
No, I definitely agree that as well. So we will move on to number 5. So what was your number
Okay.
5?
My number 5 was Perfect Celebrity. So
Mine too,
no
actually.
way.
Yeah. But
Perfect.
it's interesting because I don't think that's one that like the little monsters are like, wow, this is great. But I thought it had the most theme. I was like, oh, I kind of
Yes.
know what this song is about.
Yeah, it felt the most personal in some ways on the album, where it's like, she clearly knows what it's like to be a celebrity and to get criticized and to obviously, I was just talking about like the big
Mm,
avant-garde things that she does. Obviously, not everyone likes that. And she like talks about like you love to hate me, and that's what makes me the perfect celebrity is that nowadays people want celebrities that they can kind of hate on, that they can hate
sure.
and like, maybe like make fun of. And I think this sort of song is about that. Like she's like, I'm so out there, you can hate me and that's fine. Like that makes me the perfect celebrity and kind of like the dark side of that. And I also like that it has more of a like a almost like a rock feel to it where it's like
Yeah,
it's a little bit less I mean, it's dancey, but it's like a little bit of a harder dancey.
I agree. That's why I liked it too. But yeah, I think the story is what I just really enjoyed about it. It just felt more personal. It felt a little different than other songs. Like there's so many like criticism songs about celebrities, but I just felt like the way this was presented was very like on the nose in a good way. I think most of the time when there's a song about like I'm a celebrity and everyone hates me and like the eyes are on me, it's not as direct. So this was just
Yeah.
like a very direct song. Yeah, I liked it. But again, I think it is more of an under the radar song on the album.
Yeah, I think it manages to be, like, angry without being whiny, which is a very
Mm.
hard line to walk when you're complaining about being a celebrity, a very rich person. But I thought it was yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought that one was a fun one and stood out to me even on the first, like, go around listen to it.
All right, now we're moving on to number
Number
4.
4.
What
So
was
my
your number
number
4?
4 was Vanish Into You.
That did
Uh
not make mine.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the ones where, like, the first go around, I found it stuck in my head where I was
Mm.
like, I start singing, and I didn't even remember, like, I was, like, humming it, and I was like, which one was that?" And then I realized what song it was, but I think it's it's pretty, it's got some nice lyrics, but I think it's also catchy, and I just, I don't know, I just liked that one.
Mine is Blade of Gl is it glass or grass? Because my thing
I
fixed it
think
as glass.
I think it was grass.
That's what I
Was it
thought so too. My
yeah.
notes says glass. I'm like, "Why? That doesn't make sense." I think it's probably doing some real avant-garde. I picked this as one of the slower ones. I like that it just sounded different from the others. I was trying to look up the lyrics. I was like, what was it about? Like, I don't remember that, but I remember being like, oh, this feels different. And it like again, it slowed things down for the album.
Yeah, I think that was, like, towards the end of the album, if my memory serves me right, and it was, like,
Yeah, I think so.
one of
In
the
second to
slower
last.
songs, which yeah, one of the slower songs, which considering that the album is very dancey, there's, like, maybe t 1 or 2 slower songs, so it does really stand out from the album. Like, I don't like, I couldn't, like, hum it to you, but I like, as soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that was, like, one of the, like, the more ballady songs."
Yeah. All right. Well, isn't your number 3?
My number 3 is my boy Bruno. It's "Die with a Smile." I went back and forth because I really like this song, but I was like, "Where do I put it?" Because it does feel like a very Bruno forward song. Like, Gaga's on there for sure, but, like, it kinda
It's not her
starts with
song.
Bruno. It's like
Yeah.
Bruno's, like, the heavier hitter on this song. But I just like it. I think it's catchy. I think that they both have such good voices and the harmony's really good, and I like this. I think it's like a nice ballad.
Which is interesting for a featured artist to have such a prominent
You know what
part in the beginning of the song.
it reminded me of is, Florida from the Taylor Swift album,
Mm.
where
One of the
we
only songs I like from that
where
album.
we talked about, like, is this a Taylor song or is this a Florence song? And it ended up on my top 5 on that
Right.
album too, because I was like, "Listen, I love Florence. I'm not gonna complain about more Florence, but it does feel more like a Florence song." And this also makes my top 5, but also
Yeah.
kind of feels like it's a little bit more of a Bruno song, but
I agree.
I like Bruno too, so I can't complain too much.
Can't do much about it. My number 3 was The Beast. Another
Nice.
slower song, but I feel like I had a little bit more of a hook than the Grass song. Like I remember just feeling like tapping my foot a little bit more to this one. So yeah, The Beast is number 3 for me.
Nice. My number 2 was "Disease," which is the
Mm,
first song on the album. I think it's really catchy. And for a Gaga song, that's, like, one of the top things one of the top criterias. I think it should be fun. I think it should be catchy. And I think "Disease" is really catchy, and also, for me, nostalgically, it really does remind me of, like, her first 1 or 2 albums. A lot of it sounds a lot like the music that was on, I think it was called, like, The Fame was her first album.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the music that was on that album, so it feels like it's like a throwback to, like, a vintage Gaga for me.
Yeah, I remember out of all the 3 singles, this was the one that was a little lower for me, but it does feel so much like a single and so much like Gaga, which is what she's aiming for. My number 2 is How Bad Do You Want Me because it sounds so much like a
Yeah.
Taylor Swift song.
Perfect, perfect. I think that that works amazingly. Yeah, I almost put it on my list, and then I was like, "I don't know if I'm, like, making a criteria for myself that they have to be very Gaga songs." I don't know that that one makes on, but I do really like it, and, like, honestly, that one grew on me a lot where after I,
Same.
like, listened to the album more, I would, like, go around the house and I'd be like, "Hmm, hmm, hmm, hmm," like, I was singing, I was, like, humming it, I was like, "Okay, yeah, this is catchy." Much like many of Taylor Swift's songs are.
Yeah, and, like, kinda catches you later on where you're like, "Wait, am singing this song a little bit," you
Exactly,
know?
yeah. And then my number 1 was my boy Abracadabra.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
you've been enjoying that one.
I've been loving, honestly, I heard it, I feel like I think she performed it at the Grammys,
Mm.
and I saw a little clip of it, of her performance, and I just got that, chorus stuck in my head for days. I hadn't heard the full song at this point, so I was just walking around the house going, "Abracadabra, abracadabra." Like, Mike was like, "What are you singing? Stop." I would sing it to the cats, they would run away from me. So when I finally got to hear the full song, I was hyped. Does it work all the way through? I don't know. Does it get a
That's a
little
good
repetitive?
chorus.
Perhaps. I don't care. I love it. And also, I watched a little bit of the music video. She's got, like, a fun dance to it. I feel like all Gaga songs should have a fun dance associated with them, and so I like that one.
I don't think anyone else could sing that song besides
I
her.
agree.
Yeah.
That one to me, I feel like I had to put it at number 1 because it feels so quintessentially Gaga. Like, I can't imagine another artist making this song, and if they did, I can't imagine them making it work. It's
No.
like a for sure a Lady Gaga song that I feel like only Gaga could make that work.
Yeah, like imagine Dua Lipa trying to do that version of that song. I can't.
No.
She's a good singer, but
No,
I
it would
can't.
be odd. You'd be like, "What's going on here? What's she doing?" Meanwhile, Gaga comes out and just starts chanting abracadabra at you, and you're like, "Yeah!"
And the thing is with Gaga, she won't like blink an eye. She'll just do it. She'll
N
just go right into performance mode and just maybe sing it to your face. My number one is Die with a Smile
Nice.
because it's the song I enjoyed the most from the album. And it so happens to be the song that Lady Gaga is in least, but I just found it to be a more catchy song for my taste. But is Abracadabra an earworm? Certainly. Do I want to listen to it again? Not really.
Fair, that's fair. It's so funny because Mike, we were like somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, let me put on the album so we can listen to it." And
Mm,
he listened to Abracadabra, and he's like, kind of medium on that one.
right.
And I was like, "What? How dare you?" But yeah, I do feel like if it's like kind of an acquired taste. It's like it's a super Gaga. So I imagine that the big Gaga fans like this one a lot. Although who I don't know, I'm not a little monster, but
Little
it feels
monsters tell us.
yeah, little monsters. Tell us in the comments, did you like Abracadabra? But I do feel like it's such a Gaga song that like I can't imagine it coming from anybody else. So it feels so Gaga to me. But yeah, we have some overlap on our lists.
Yeah, I'm
So
happy about it.
that's
And there's some
fun.
that you just are like, I like this song, but I will not put it on. So maybe we would have had more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I had some honorable mentions that almost if I had put if I had put her Taylor Swift song on the list, we would have had like 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we had a lot. So yeah, overall thoughts, she's going back to basics. If you're going to the dance floor, you might hear a few Gaga songs be like, wow, is this 2009? And you realize it's not. It's actually 2025. And she just
Exactly.
made an album that sounds a lot like 20 years ago.
Imagine 2009. Your life seems a little easier then, right? A little simpler? Why
Yeah,
not? Let's go
the
back.
world's not burning. What? That's weird.
To think of 2009 as a simpler time is rough. It's a rough indication of our times.
It is. And you know what? Maybe we just need a Lady Gaga to remind us of the good times and nostalgia.
Maybe it'll be all an upswing from here, from Gaga, you know?
Yeah, sure.
It could happen.
I think so. I think Gaga was the start of all that for sure. Because this
I would
album,
say I would say I feel like she would probably be a very fun performer to see live. I feel like she probably puts
yeah.
on like a crazy show.
No, I think if someone offered me tickets to go see Lady Gaga, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Would I pay $500 for Lady Gaga? Probably not.
I simply could not. But if I got cheap, if somebody was like, "Here's cheap tickets to Gaga," I'd
I'd
be
pay
like,
100.
"I'd
I'd
pay
pay 100
100."
for nosebleeds.
Oh yeah, I would just to get in the game. I'd pay that.
Yeah.
But like that's not what like these big artists anymore. It's like $500 to get in the door now,
No,
which is
it's $500 to
crazy.
have the last seat. It's like
It's so true.
absolutely. I'm so sorry. I will not. Like I
It's
don't think there's
crazy.
many people I do it for. I'm glad I like people like Maggie Rogers, or it's like $50.
I know. It's so funny. We got those Beyonce tickets, which I was like, I could justify to myself because I love this album. And also I've wanted to see her for ages and I've never seen her.
Yeah.
But then right afterwards, we got tickets for like Metric and they were like under $100. And I was just like, that's right. That's why I like indie music because I can actually go see them and it's possible and it doesn't break my bank account.
And you get close seats a lot of the times. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of AJR. I know they're not everyone's favorite, but I love the shows they put on in particular. They do like kind of magic stuff as they do illusions and stuff like that. They put on really cool shows. And I saw their last show that was like it was an arena show. And now they're doing another one. They haven't released another album, but they're doing another show where it looks like they're doing stadiums. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm sure they're gonna do something really cool with like just the visuals. And I was looking at the prices. I'm like, yeah, for like really good seats, it's like $100. Like that's so interesting that you could see like honestly a fun show and it's
Yeah.
like $100. Even Post Malone, I saw him and it was like for pretty decent tickets. I think about the 200 range. I'm like, I don't mind spending that for like good tickets. Like
Yeah.
that's like a range like I'll go see Post Malone for, but I'm not going to 500 to have horrible seats. If I love if let's say Beyonce
Yeah.
example, I love an artist, I pay 500 for really good seats maybe if I knew it was like a once in a
Yeah.
lifetime thing, but if it's like the worst seat in the house for $500, I'm
It's
like, no, thank
crazy.
you.
These ticket prices are nuts. And the other thing is like you can maybe justify it to see your favorite artist like once. You can't justify it. Like all these artists are touring, every year, other year. Like I can't justify going to see another expensive concert this year, and I might not go next to an expensive concert next year. So it's like I don't understand how they can keep jacking these prices up and expecting for people to like show up.
I don't think they will at a certain point. And it's interesting because I like going to see basketball games, and I especially have enjoyed to watch the WNBA. So last year I saw three WNBA games. So I saw one that was like the opening for the New York Liberty, and it was like pretty cheap. They get like really decent ticket. Like the actually front row tickets was
Whoa.
$400, which like it's the front row. You're like right there. And then I went to go see the Aces, the Las Vegas Aces, and they were $10 to get bad seats. $10. And they were like that. It was still decent seats. Like you could see everything, and I was enjoying. It was $10.
That's crazy.
This year, because it's been so popular, the WNBA, to get really good seats for the Liberty opening game was $1,000. I think more. And then to see the Caitlin Clark game, which Caitlin Clark was the opener last year. But to see the Caitlin Clark game, it was like $800, $1,000. I'm like, we just went from $10 last year to like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Like we got really bad seats for the one of the games for the Liberty, and it was like $200, $300 for the worst seats in the house.
Crazy. That's crazy. That's so much money.
And how did they jack it up in a year? Like, I understand it got like popular, but I'm just like, how do you go from $10? Like, like I went to Vegas with my friends, and we were doing like a birthday thing, and like they don't like basketball, so I was just like, but it's like $10. You could just go there and like just see the surroundings. And I'm like, yeah, I'd go for $10. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and we got free
bobbleheads too. So we're like, you literally got your money worth.
Seriously, I know. We've started talking about like what Mets games we're gonna go see this year, and I was like the tickets. We went during the playoffs. I think it was the playoffs last year. And the tickets were kind of, I can't remember how much, but they were kind of pricey. But like the regular season tickets aren't too bad, honestly. So it's like, how can you justify charging like these crazy prices? I guess people will pay them until they don't anymore, but
no, I don't get it. I gotta limit my my shows if it's getting that pricey, because that's
everything's
crazy.
too expensive now.
That's actually what this whole podcast was about, and what Lady Gaga was talking about. But yeah,
that's what Gaga's always talking about. It's too
everything's expensive. That's what Just Dance was always about. Just dance for the man.
Abracadabra, your money's gone.
Maybe that's what the show will be. That'll be the opener. And it just has your money and just makes it vanish.
Everybody checks their wallets, all their money is gone. They're like, what? How did Gaga do this?
And then they just realize that's all the money they spent to go see the show. And they're like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I spent it on this show and the hot dog I just got. So
the $15 hot dog I just bought.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, any other final thoughts on Lady Gaga's capitalist agenda, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Good for her. I make that money, Gaga. No, I enjoyed this album. I think it was a fun throwback to her like earlier dancier stuff, and I think that her fans are gonna like it. I was like looking around before we recorded this today, and it seems like it seems like the people are liking it. The Gaga fans seem to be liking this album a good amount. So yay, Gaga.
Yeah. I'm happy for them. I'm curious to see what her next step will be. Will it be dance music? Will we see her in the next 10 years? Because this one kind of I felt like a little longer.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time, it feels like, since her last album.
Yeah,
But
no,
I could be wrong. Again, I don't actually know that well.
I don't know about art pop.
I could just be talking about nothing. Maybe she had an album last year, I just didn't know about it.
I know she had like a movie based on an album, but I don't like it was an old album. Let's see when her last album was, and then we'll call it quits. Let's see when her last album was.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I think I'm
You were
lying
wrong.
a lot. It looks like she had a was this can't be right. That that she had a Harley Quinn, like, concept album that
She
came out
did. It's not.
last
It's
year?
not. Yeah, it's not. No,
Oh,
it's not
no.
Lady Gaga. You're
Not for
good.
that movie. Gaga, no.
What's so funny, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned it on this podcast. There's a song of like her doing a cover of When the Saints Are Going Marching In, and it's her doing the most serious version of When the
Oh my
Saints Go
god.
Marching In, and it's just
I need to
so
see this movie.
funny.
We on Supergirl Radio are going to watch this movie to do a Patreon on it, and we watched Joker first, which I had never seen. And then so now we're moving on to Folie à Deux,
Mm.
which I have also still haven't seen, but man, I guess I'm in for an experience. I've heard things and I don't know what I'm going to be watching. So I'm kind of excited in that aspect.
Yeah, I wasn't not a I was not a huge fan of the first Joker movie, so I was just
Same,
like, "Oh,
same.
don't really need to see the second one."
It's so funny because like I heard that the first people are mixed on the first one. Some people really liked
Sure.
it, some people didn't like it. People do not seem mixed on the second one. Everyone doesn't like it. So I was like, if I didn't like the first one, what's the second one gonna be like for me?
I'll
We'll
say
find out.
my friend who loves Lady Gaga says Gaga was great and said,
That's
"Oh,
good
the
to know,
haters."
actually. That's good to
But
know.
that's her saying that, and she'll say that about anything Gaga's in. Or
She
I
was great
think
in A Star Is Born.
the
No
last
one can
album
take
she
that from
released
her.
was 2020.
Oh, wow, okay. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
so
last, like,
it's been a second.
album, because
Like
she's
a
done, like,
real
Top
album.
Gun yeah, like, this type of album.
Like music, not like
Like,
a movie
not
tie-in music.
yeah, not a Saints Go Marching In.
Oh, I remember the name of it because it was neat.
Mm,
It was, like, kind of unique. It was, like, Chromatica,
yeah.
but, like, now I'm looking at the title tracks and, like, I don't know that I've heard any of these. How is that possible? Did she have,
You
like, a
know,
were there not, like, singles from this that
it
popped off, or
was the pandemic, so
oh,
I guess
that might have been why.
yeah, maybe she was just like,
It was
"Here's
a
the
different
album,"
time.
but
Listen, no one could just dance during the pandemic because we all had to be socially distanced. That's
that's
probably what it
true,
was.
so no one could dance, so how can a dance album do well?
It's true. It's
Probably
true.
not going to. I'll also say I didn't really hear about the album. I just heard from the little monsters that it existed, but as not a monster, maybe I'm just a monster. Not a little
You're not a little
monster.
monster.
Yeah, I'm just a monster.
You're gonna have somebody in the comments be like, "She doesn't even call him that."
That's so 2010. They're called Gaz now. They're called Artpop Volume 2 Fanatics.
Truthers. I like that I know about this now. Every podcast, I learn, like, a little fact that I think is gonna come in handy in my life at some point.
I always call it the Slumdog Millionaire moment.
I was about to say,
When
like, I was about to say
yeah.
Slumdog Millionaire style.
That's oh man, if you look at the Gagapedia, they have a whole entire article about our pop too.
No way.
Yeah,
Really? I'm gonna
there
go
is.
deep down a rabbit hole tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Get ready. You're gonna learn a lot. But
Amazing.
yeah, your Slumdog Millionaire moment is there for you. Anytime I give a useless fact to my friends, they're always like, I always say it's your Slumdog Millionaire moment. When you go on that show,
You
you're like,
never
Kat,
know
it's not gonna happen. It was
when this is gonna be important for you.
it was funny. I'll leave you guys with this, but as you guys know, I really like Maggie Rogers. So I was telling my friends, like, go listen to this song, but then after you listen to the song, go watch the video where Pharrell Williams is like listening to her song for the first time. And they're like, no, we're not gonna do that, Kat. And then
How
that
dare.
night, we were watching Pop Culture Jeopardy because they're just like trying to make time go by.
Oh, I love
One
pop
of
culture Jeopardy, by the way. I'm obsessed.
It's fun.
Yeah, we watch a lot of
And
it.
one of the questions was the
Yes,
that
I saw
question.
that episode, and I yelled out, "Maggie watches, Maggie watches."
I'm like, see?
Because I read the article that
Uh-huh.
you suggested I read that was about her, like, going to what did she go to, like, a
Yeah,
college for
Harvard.
yes, like the
Yeah.
Harvard Divinity School or
Yeah.
something wild like that, and they talk about how that, Pharrell clip got
Mhm.
viral and, like, really accelerated her career so fast.
And it's a cool video, guy. If you guys haven't seen it, but it was just so funny because usually my Slumdog Millionaire moments never actually do anything. So when that happened, I was like, guys,
See?
Watchers, like,
I told you guys. I told you
only
guys.
my useless facts mean something.
I knew one day we would need
Uh,
this.
Another one that was a useless fact that no one believed me on because it was so stupid. One of my friends was staying at a Fairmont hotel, and I was just like, "You should go eat at one of their restaurants and get tea because like their big thing is that they have bees in their hotel and they make their own honey." And they're like, "That's stupid.
What?
That doesn't exist." And yeah, like every Fairmont hotel makes their own honey. Like they have it
That's
on their rooftops
wild.
or
I
something.
did not know that.
No one believed me. And I was like, it happens. You should go to one of their restaurants. And I'm like, I'm going to prove it. And I went up to one of the desks and I'm like, this is stupid, but can I ask you a question? And they're like, do you guys have the bees? And they're like, yeah, but like people can't go see them, but like we do use the bees. I'm like,
Yes,
see?
we do have the bees. Cat turns around. She's like, "Was I right?"
And they're like, okay.
That's amazing. Well, I didn't know that, and now I have a second Slumdog Millionaire fact for
Yeah, my
tonight.
second,
So.
one Slumdog Millionaire moment that I don't know if I've ever the mother dough of sourdough bread. I always try to explain that there's like starters for sourdough bread,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like called the mother dough, and no one believes me on that one either. They're like the mother dough.
I
What's
thought that
that?
was
And I'm
like a
like,
well-known
I thought
sourdough
so
fact.
too.
Did
Me
these
too.
people not live through the pandemic when everybody was starting their breads?
I
Like,
don't
what?
think they did. And I was like, no, you need like a starter. Like that's the whole point. So you
Yeah.
can't make it any other way. I'm like, no, that's the whole
No,
point of
you can't. That's
sourdough.
how you do it.
And it's called the mother dough. And they're like, it's not called the mother dough.
You can tell
It
you and
is.
I watch more food shows than everybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, everyone knows this fact, Kat, and you're like, actually, it turns out they don't.
No, I've said it to so many people, and I've gotten zilch on that one. Not one person has known except you that there is a
That's
mother
crazy.
dough.
That's crazy. I thought we were all out here knowing about the mother dough.
Me too. I
The
really
mother
thought
dough sounds like something like a Lady Gaga fan would call her, right?
yeah, she's my mother dough.
She's so mother dough right now.
Oh, I love my mother dough. But yeah, when you do get your Slumdog Millionaire moment, Maggie Rogers has already been done, but like now you know about the Fairmont piece.
Exactly. The fair enough that could come in handy for sure in my life.
I think so. You just got to go to a Fairmont hotel and like say, "There's bees here."
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get anything with honey at this hotel because I know it's fresh.
It's fresh honey, but you might not be able to see the bees because they won't allow you to go.
That's disappointing, but
Yeah.
but I will know them by their product.
They will. Oh, guys, that is our show. I hope you learned something.
Hopefully about Gaga, but maybe just about bees
I
or
think the
bread.
bees. Oh yeah, or hopefully the bread. If you didn't know about the
Hopefully
bread, you know me and Morgan know about it.
Now you're part of the club.
You're part of the mother dough fandom.
Yeah, we're sort of our own little monsters. So Kat, what do you have going on?
I have some Kickstarters going on right now. I'm trying to think what they are. I have the dancer, which is the full complete collection of a
Ooh.
dancer who is an assassin, and she witnessed her parents being murdered in front of her as a child. Now she has to deal with that trauma. So if you're looking for introspection, unlike the Lady Gaga album, then you might enjoy that. Then we also have the continuation of Beast and Snow. It's Snow White as a vampire and Belle as a werewolf. They fall in love. This is the Evil Queen's secret origin story. So go check that one
Ooh,
out.
that's
That's
fun.
about it. Yeah,
That's
it's fun.
fun. You can find me as a co-host on Supergirl Radio, where to gear up for the upcoming Superman movie, we have been reading All Star Superman, which I have
Good
never read.
comic.
Yeah,
It's a good
so
comic. And they
so
have
it's
a
a fun
whole
one.
movie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, is there?
They have
There's
a
an
yeah, an
animated
animated
version?
Mhm.
Oh, maybe we'll check out the animated version too. Who knows?
Who
So
knows what'll be next?
you should check us out over at Supergirl Radio.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching. Stay legendary.